Hi guys, I'm Bree.
And I'm Allie. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went. Hello
And welcome
to Off Script,
a podcast.
where today we are remote.
Yes, we are. Yes. I'm very tired today, you guys. But I'm very excited.
Yes. So we are at Three Trees Books today, and we actually are going to be talking with Ingrid and Tim,
Yes.
who are owners of the store.
Mm-hmm.
We're very excited.
Should we do it?
Let's.
Okay.
All right.
So here is Ingrid.
You do, and then me and
does
Allie
that
will
work?
share
Oh my
this.
goodness.
Yeah.
Let me put my arm.
Should I say check? Testing. 1, 2. Okay. No,
We can hear you, so we're
I'm-
good.
I'm very comfortable. The mic.
I know, isn't it fun?
It's almost like my hairbrush at home.
Feels a little bit more professional than a hairbrush, huh?
Slightly. But I have a vivid imagination. So.
Definitely. Okay, well, what can you tell us about this adorable bookshop we're in right now?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we just moved into this space in
wow.
Old Burien. That's what the neighborhood's called. In March 2023, so this year.
Oh, wow.
This is our very first holiday season here.
Oh, I bet that's kind of scary, huh?
It is scary. Actually, thank you for saying that.
Yes, you're welcome.
Like, people are like, it must be great. And I'm like, it is, and terrifying.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Holidays, as anybody knows in retail, are like, that's the time.
Yeah, that's when you get hit or
Or you fail.
yeah.
Horribly. But for 4 years prior to coming here, we were in a 240 square foot space. So really tiny.
Wow.
There's a background noise here. A tiny space in the Seahurst Post Office building, which is down the western end of Burien.
Wow.
On this street, but just all the way down. And there's a tiny little vaguely retail-y section. Not really. There's like a coffee shop
Yeah.
and a post office. It feels very like old-timey.
Yeah.
And we were basically hidden. You'll see there's a watercolor of our bookstore storefront that a
cool.
customer did that's hanging over the kids section, and
Cool.
you'll see how like you won't even be able to find us in the painting of our store, right? Like that's how tiny it was. But it was fun, and it was definitely like our identity, like the concept. Tim and I, it was really my idea to begin with. I had to kind of strong arm. I'm going to give myself credit for like, breaking myself.
Give credit where it's due.
Yeah. I had to totally strong arm him into being a participant in all of this.
Wow.
I did everything to get it set up before he just was like, oh, this is pretty and cute. I'll be part of it. But now he kind of runs everything, which is hilarious that I get to talk to you guys and like he does everything.
And he's just working back there.
He's just working. Yeah. Okay. But the original idea came from like a couple of different things. So Tim loves watching. Have you ever heard of NHK? It's this bizarre like 24-hour channel, Japanese network.
Okay.
I guess. And mostly it's like a news cycles, but also lots of like little documentaries about like Japanese crafts and how they're made, and like bizarre little shorts with it's hard to explain. Really odd programming, but fascinating. And he's obsessed with it. Thank you. Bye. And he was watching it. I think we were watching it together. I can't even remember. But there was a bookstore in Tokyo, I think, that their whole thing was one book a month. So they would completely redo the bookstore.
Whoa.
Like decorate it like the book. And it would have a big opening party for the book every month.
That's so
And they would
cool.
sell one book that whole month. And then they'd flip it for the next book.
Wow.
And they actually made money?
We don't know.
Oh.
We think it still exists, though, because I've
Whoa.
Googled it. Exactly, like a big
That's
brick and mortar
so
book club.
cool.
So we thought that was really neat. That's like a level of curation that's way beyond
yeah.
like what I'm capable of. And then I always, and this is going to sound really cheesy, but I always love airport bookstores.
Yes,
Like,
I do too.
Do you really?
Yes.
That's
I
so
always,
funny.
I bring my books when I'm going on a flight, but I always go into the bookstores
go
because I'm
in.
like, maybe they have one I want to read on the plane instead.
Right. And they
Yeah.
usually do have something like that I would maybe not buy in front of other people, but like if I'm flying, I want to read, this romance or this
Yes.
really dumb business book that could have been a blog post, right?
Yeah.
Like, or whatever. But like, it's always the very, very best bestsellers, like nothing. So, but what I love about it, not just that, like the cheesy factor, but it's just really limited choice.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're like picking one of 5 books, and you're like, I guess I'm reading this. And then you read it, and you can sometimes be surprised, and sometimes you're not at all surprised, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
But like that limited choice feels really comforting and good. I don't know why.
Yes.
I just like it.
That's what I noticed when we walked in. I was like, it's so small, but that's so, like, it's not overwhelming. It
That's
feels
it.
really nice.
Like I almost, God forbid, like I love libraries for what they stand for, but they scare me. Like
There's
there's
so
so
many.
many books,
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
and they do a good job of displaying the new ones and all that stuff, but you can't get the new ones, so it's sort of like, ugh. Anyway, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that weird bookseller that disparages libraries, but like, no,
I hate the library.
hate libraries. No, I love libraries, but that sense of overwhelm like gets me. Like, and I grew up in New York City and the Strand, and like it just too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Oh, I
So that was, I sort of wanted to take that Japanese idea and the idea of a really good airport bookstore where it's not
Yes.
like
Yes.
the crappy bestsellers. It's the
There's
good
other
bestsellers.
options too.
And the ones that, exactly. Like,
Yes.
and just limit the choice and make it like a really, like you cannot go wrong little bookstore. And I think we did a really good job of that. Like, it ended up getting crammed with books, like
Oh,
floor to
yeah.
ceiling. We kept adding more bookshelves
That
and like
is
this
okay.
tiny little space. I should show you pictures. It was hilarious. And like those white shelf things,
Yeah.
like every nook and cranny had one of those. You know what I mean? Like all the way.
You're like, we gotta fit it in.
Yeah. So the curation kind of fell apart at a certain point. But that was the concept.
Yeah.
So airport bookstore, Japanese bookstore with the one book a month, that was like where we originally started. And that was our identity, tiny bookstore. And then the space became available, and I don't know if anybody listening has been to the space, but it's like such a pretty space. It's this
It
corner with the
is.
big windows. And for us, it's cavernous and huge, and we order way too many books.
I bet
and-
you guys walked in and were like, whoa, we have so much
Whoa.
space.
Yeah.
activities.
But I tell you, I guarantee like money. I put money on this.
Yeah.
This whole like cute little sitting area that we have will be gone in a year or two because we're gonna fill it with bookshelves. Like it's
Hey.
like this world of spare beauty will go away eventually. But like for now, it's pretty good.
I love it.
So that's it. That's our story. We were meant to be tiny, and now we're not. Now we're medium.
Hey, that's awesome. That's
Perfect.
that's great if you can start tiny and actually like grow into something bigger. That's always awesome too.
Well, that was it's funny, like if you research, if you're trying to open a bookstore and you research on the ABA website, they have stats and stuff for you to understand like what to expect in terms of sales per square foot because it's very tied
Yeah.
to your
Oh.
inventory. Per square foot, when you get small enough, your per square foot sales actually shoot through the roof.
Yeah.
So for someone out there who's interested in opening a bookstore, as long as you're not just doing that,
Yeah.
Right.
for your unless you want to live in the bookstore, then it's not a terrible way to start.
That's great.
It's kind of like the pop-up concept, you
Yeah.
start really
Yes.
small and then
When did you guys start over down the street?
we opened February 2019.
Oh, right before COVID. Oh man.
1 year before COVID.
Yeah.
And it was literally Super Bowl Sunday that we opened.
Wow.
Snowmageddon. Do you remember this at all?
Yeah. We had just moved back from Utah, and everybody here was calling it Snowmageddon. I'm like, really?
Not that
Like,
bad. Not that bad. Yeah. You're like, no.
Yeah.
But then you learned that we have no infrastructure to handle snow.
Yes.
And
No,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I have a bunch of friends who like live in very snowy places who are always like, "You guys are wimps," and I'm like, "You don't understand. It's
No.
not us. It's just that we aren't handled. Like we can't handle it." Like,
I know. I grew up here, and so we only lived in Utah that 1 year. But after being down there, I was like, "This is it." And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, Washington doesn't do snow plows and all this sort of stuff." And it was like
Nope.
all of our hills, and I'm like, "Oh man, yeah, okay." But anyway, so that's a fun day to open.
People were like seriously cross-country skiing right in front of the store.
Oh my gosh.
There were no cars. There was nobody. I think 2 of my friends showed up. Like it was adorable.
They're like here to celebrate with you, but
I have pictures from the day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah. So that was when we opened, and then we had 1 year before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic hit, we did a lot of delivery, and it was really fun.
Cool.
It was a reason to get out of the house too.
Yes.
Like I would drive around and just leave the little bag on people's doorsteps, and it was a lot of fun.
That's so cute.
That's
Yeah.
so
Oh, I love that. That's so
It was
smart.
fun. And then we would have like our bench out front with like rows of people's books to pick up in their bags. You know, a lot of stores did things like
So
that. And
smart. Yeah.
we have the
Wow.
indie commerce type website, so we shipped through them, but I don't know. I kind of preferred the hand delivery to the locals.
Oh, it's so
Yes,
fun.
I love it.
Puts like a
was
personal
fun.
touch on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I felt like Santa.
Yeah, I was just about
The
to say.
best kind of
It was
Santa.
a good
Bringing
feeling.
books.
Yeah, and all the dogs in the neighborhood like freaked out every time I did. It was pretty fun.
Like, hi, doggos.
Yeah.
Very cute.
We were talking before, and I'm intrigued. I want to know about this. Is it a book hunt, or
Oh yeah.
what's going on with that?
So I have to give credit where credit is 100% due. So there's a cute store
Okay.
that you need to go to before you leave
Okay.
the area.
Perfect.
Called the Shop Seahurst.
Oh, cute. Okay.
And they had this idea and told me about it, and I immediately just did it. I stole their idea. But the idea was to, there are all these little free lending libraries all around Burien. And the idea was to, like, I don't know, put little books, hide new books in the
cool.
libraries and have people hunt for them.
Yeah.
And we sort of took it to a kind of different level. So like every holiday season now, we wrap 2 to 3, sometimes 4 brand new children's books that are sort of thematic around the different winter holidays, and
cool.
put a little sign on it. And if you find the book, you get 20% off anything in store too.
Oh.
So you get the book and that, and we post on social media the hint in the morning on Saturday. So it's every Saturday morning until New Year's. So it goes from Halloween to New Year's, and it's sort of it's fun.
That
It's
is
really
so
fun.
cute.
And so last weekend was Hanukkah.
Uh-huh.
Had a couple of really cute Hanukkah books, and before that Thanksgiving, before that Halloween. You get the idea.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I was looking at the present hunt book, and I'm like, because I got 2 littles at home. I'm like, might just have to. My Christmas book collection is like, 30, 40 books, and every year they get a new
Oh.
one. And so
Luckies.
I know. And so, but then there's also me buying extra. So now it's like every year we get like 4 or 5. And it's
How
like,
little are they?
she's going to be 7 in 2 weeks, and then
Okay.
one that just turned 4. So
Okay.
yeah. So I was
Do
looking
you guys
all-
do the Nutcracker every year? There's a really neat Nutcracker book that you
No.
might already have because it's old.
Oh, I don't
I
know.
mean, not old, but you press a button and it plays the music.
No.
You know those books? Yeah, it's really good.
That's cute.
Yep.
No.
And the battery will die and you'll hate
Yep.
it and want to throw it at something.
Yes.
But like it's still really wonderful for a little while.
Yes. No, we love the How to Catch books. So we got Santa Claus and Elf, and
Oh, those are good.
those are my favorites. And
Yeah. Do you have Pig the Elf? Pig the Pug books? Do you
we
like those?
have. I think we checked one out from the library, but we don't own them. And I saw one. Yeah, right here.
We just
might
just
have to
read that
get
at story
that.
time
Yes.
this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Cute. You have story time here?
Not here. Actually,
Oh.
weirdly, because we were in the tiny space, we never had story time there,
Oh,
right?
that
Because
makes sense. No room.
But we have a partnership with the Highline Heritage Museum, which is just down the
Oh
street.
yeah, I actually saw that when
It's
we were
really,
driving in.
really wonderful. Again, to anybody listening, go get a membership there. It's really good. And they've for free let us use their space to do
Wow.
events, to do readings, to do anything. And
Oh,
in
that's
return, I mean,
awesome.
we just promote them. I mean,
Yeah, that's
they're just
so nice.
generous. It's incredible. And now they're really close to us. They're like two
Right
buildings
there.
down.
Yeah.
But back then, that was how we did events, and we started 2 years ago doing this story. It's a cultural and inclusive story time. So every month there's a theme, usually to do with like a national, I don't know, like for February it's Black History Month, so we do a bunch of kids books around that topic.
Oh, that's awesome.
January is slavery and human trafficking, which is awkward. Trying to find children's books about that is I actually found one a kid's book about Harriet Tubman, so I thought that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's another theme for January. I can't remember, like New Year's or something. Maybe.
Sounds right.
And and then it's just every month is a different theme like that.
Awesome. That's fun.
So we do that once a month, first month Saturday of every month. We do story time at the museum. Now we could probably do it here, but I just love the museum so much.
Like plus promoting other local places. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then, everybody knows that's where you're at too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It wouldn't be a change or anything. Yeah. Very cool.
It is. It's fun. Oh, and so Julia Quinn.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
so you were asking
Yes.
about the pandemic.
Yeah.
Somewhere, let's see, when was it? Remember the summer of Bridgerton?
Yeah.
Like when it just
when it blew up.
blew up.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine from high school, and I went to high school on the East Coast.
Okay.
She reaches out to me on Facebook. I haven't talked to her in years. She reaches out to me on Facebook and says, "Hey, just curious, I saw you opened a bookstore." I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Would you like my sister to come do a book signing?" And I was like, Jesus, like this happens. You know, if you're a bookstore owner,
it probably happens more.
you get hit up a lot, right? Like, and that's okay. That's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's fun. But there was a moment there I was like, really? That sounds like, okay, yeah, of course, because you're my friend from high school. Like, of course I'll do it. And so I immediately wrote back, yeah, of course. Like, just to be clear, I wasn't like, but inside I was a little cringy, right? I was like, not again. I had no idea that her sister, whom I had met before, by the way, was now, her nom de plume is Julia Quinn.
Oh my gosh.
And she lives in the area. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
And I didn't at the time. Like, I knew nothing. I was so embarrassed. And I was like, yes. It became a whole different level of like,
You're like,
yes.
wait a minute. This is
I lost my mind. I was like, of course, I really want Julia Quinn to come. So it was height of pandemic times. And Julia Quinn is married. I don't know if you know this. I don't know her husband's name. I haven't met him, but apparently he was part of the group, he's a doctor, a scientist, who helped basically create the vaccine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, like, could you imagine a more insane power couple
Right,
like for
seriously.
Seattle at the height of the pandemic? Like, she's married to the guy making the vaccine.
And
She did
she's blowing up
Bridgerton.
right
Bridgerton got
now.
everybody through the pre-vaccine. We had Bridgerton, and then we had her husband. So that was kind of cool. Anyway, but so she agreed. Right, I was her first book signing since the explosion of Bridgerton. Right, like, and so
cool.
we got all of her every single title, and of course the publisher was like madly making ridiculous new covers, right, to match. Of course,
All of
as you know, with
yeah.
the the book was better like concept.
Yeah.
Like the covers started to be matching the show, and so then they weren't matching, right? Like we'd have all these different, and the new one hadn't come out, right? Like book 8 wasn't ready with the new covers, and people who want things signed and who want series want them all to look the same. So we just did it all wrong, basically. We ordered a lot of things. We ordered a lot of like it doesn't matter. Point is, like, it worked out, sorta.
Yeah, but it was hard.
But boy,
too.
was it hard. We had no idea what we were doing, number one. Number two, like, the types of books that were available, it was just, we didn't fully understand what was happening. But Julia was so nice.
Oh, good.
And she came and she sat, tiny space.
Yeah.
Did not have we couldn't be inside a room.
Oh,
Right.
So we set up a little desk for her. It was the hottest day ever. She boiled to death out there. Like, I kept running to get her water and stuff like that.
No.
But she sat at a little table and people lined up all the way around the block.
Wow.
Outside, because everything had to be outside.
Yeah.
In the heat. So I was passing around like
Water
drinks
to everyone.
people on the line, too. And it was so funny. It was just really, it was good. It was fun. And she took
awesome.
pictures with people. She was super generous with her time, and then she came back and signed more books. So like that was like the luckiest break I think ever.
That's
It
awesome.
was a big deal.
Really cool. That's awesome.
So that was fun. And I hope she'll come back one day.
Julie, you're like, listen, come back.
So we still have some of her mass market signed copies
that's
if you're
awesome.
if you're interested. But and they're fun books. I don't know if you've read any of them.
Not yet. My mom loves the show. and it's actually on our list to cover.
Well, I'm sure you have a short list.
We have like 10 years worth. So
We started this and we're like, oh, there's not going to be that much to do. And then next thing I knew, I was like, oh, there's a lot of adaptations out
we
there.
have a Word document and like each page is one letter. So we have like at least 26 pages of adaptations. Yeah. Like, oh my God. And we'll be watching shows and they'll be like based on a book and we're like, oh, pull out our list.
Put it on the
and add
list?
it to the
Yeah,
list.
or like I'll go see a movie that I don't realize is based off of a book, and I'm a
That
purist.
happens to me all the time.
I tend to like to read the books before the movies too, so
Me
then
too.
I get upset.
Hello.
But then
Hi. We're doing a podcast here.
hello.
It's fun. You know,
good to
I
know.
have a book that, and this is probably not some, I'm sure you hear this sort of thing all the time, but like
Hey,
there-
we'll take
I
it.
actually have a book that like, I think the movie was like 100 times better than the book.
Ooh, really?
I
Which
know,
one?
Right?
Yeah.
Bridges of Madison County.
Ooh, haven't heard of that one.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
Yeah, no.
What?
I've heard of it.
Okay,
You
might have-
Uh-huh.
it might have
surprising.
been 1990 something when the book
Okay.
came out. I don't know. Sorry. But I might be old. But
No.
it feels like yesterday to me. It was like the biggest, hottest book. Everybody on the subway
Wow.
was reading it. It was nuts. I mean, literally everybody. And it's, I forget who wrote it. I was like the only person on earth who hated the book.
Wow.
Like, despised it.
Wow.
And then Meryl Streep was
Oh.
in the movie.
how have I not even heard of this movie?
I don't know. I've heard of it.
Meryl Streep and the guy who's the photographer, what's his name? Clint Eastwood is the other guy.
What?
And it is really a great movie. Like, it's a really good movie. She does an incredible job of like turning what was like so shallow and not at all good
Yeah.
into like a deep, like
Well, that's
powerful
awesome.
story. I don't
We'll
yeah.
have to cover that.
Yeah. We
Oh, it's a
definitely-
good one.
Yeah, that's what we do. So we do but we, give all the stats like when it came out, both of them and all that, and then we compare them, and then we pick which we like better.
We also, so I've always had a theory that if you watch the movie before you read it, or if you read the book before you watch the movie, you like whichever one you did 1st. So then we put that theory to the test.
Oh, I disagree.
Really?
Because I've done both.
Yeah.
And like definitely a mixed bag. Like
It is.
If I flip back and forth, like
Right now we're sitting at like a C, like 70 or less % of us being accurate. So it is very mixed.
It's not always the first one.
No,
Okay,
no.
okay.
Like The Shining. We just did The Shining. And
I've never read that book.
The book's way better.
Really?
Yes. So,
Shocking, because that movie is really good.
well, the book
I
is
love
so-
Olive Oil or whatever her name is that plays.
Yes.
The actress. I'm
Shelley
totally forgetting, but she
Duvall.
also played Olive Oil.
Yes.
That's another one where the book. No, I'm kidding. The cartoon was way better.
But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
so that definitely
Really?
happens
the
a
book
few
is
times.
way better. So
I
should pick it up.
love the
Okay.
book. Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
never gotten into Stephen King. I feel like if I do, I'll never stop, and so I have
Honestly,
to like.
She doesn't
Wait.
like horror, and so doing this, I
Oh.
told her I was like, I want every October to be Stephen King, and I knew I was like, oh, that's gonna be tough getting her to do it, and I started her with Misery, and she loved
I
it.
did. I really liked it,
That
which
movie.
is weird.
Holy cow!
Another one where the book was better.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I think Kathy Bates might be the best actress.
Oh, yeah,
on
she
the
is.
planet.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the book was better. Okay. Okay.
Yes. I mean, that was actually a hard one. I mean, I liked the book better, but I think you
I like the movie better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so it was but they
So
were
you guys
both-
don't always agree.
Yeah, no.
right,
yeah.
okay.
One of our first ones where we disagreed was Wuthering Heights, and Wuthering Heights, the book, is like one of my favorites.
I don't think I've seen a movie adaptation that I've liked. Not a single one.
It was my first time even watching the adaptation. And
Which one? There are like 12.
We did I know. We did the one with Rafe Fiennes.
Oh.
Yeah, don't.
Wait, is he Heathcliff?
Yeah,
No.
he was a.
Way too handsome. Way too pretty.
It's true. I think actually said
That's
that.
wrong. That is just wrong. Heathcliff is scary and brooding and mean.
So she made me watch it first. And so I went into the book already knowing what was going on. And then to me, the book just dragged on. And I was like,
Yeah.
so I voted movie on that one because.
And I was all for the book, and I
They
thought
do
she was
cut
on
all
board
the
with me.
more scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we've just, it's been a mix of which we like and don't like. I just didn't, honestly, I didn't like either of them. But I had to pick.
It's not my favorite of the Bronte sisters.
Oh, okay, there's better ones.
Jane Eyre is my favorite book,
Oh, okay.
like of all time.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right. That's on our list, too.
Yes, it is. I read it in high school, and I couldn't get through it, but I think it's because I've also learned that when I'm forced to read a book for like a class, I can't stand them, except for The Great Gatsby. That's the only one that I actually could stomach in high school.
Oh,
I love that
interesting.
book. It's one of my
Okay.
favorites. Yeah.
Another one where the movie adaptations are a little disappointing.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
I was
You
going
like
to say,
that?
the
Really?
Leo one was pretty good, but I love the book too much.
I just don't like the old books. I think that's my issue.
Just in general,
Yeah.
you're like a modern
I
rom-com.
think so. I think so.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
know. It
Yeah.
makes an interesting podcast for you over
Oh,
here.
for
like,
sure.
This book is great. And me be like, but this kid's book is great.
And then I'm like, oh my God.
But like to me, Mr. Rochester in Jane Eyre, he's it.
Yeah.
He's the one.
Yeah.
He's my one. And Jane is like, she's okay. She's fine. But
Yeah.
like Mr. Rochester is like the.
Yeah.
And there's a book by Jean Reese that riffs on the Jane Eyre story. There are actually a lot of, obviously there are a lot of, as you know, like rewrites. But this is like from the 80s or something. And it's called Wide Sargasso Sea. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, so this is a good movie book one. Because
Okay.
the movie's like porny. Like super porny. And it's the backstory. It's almost like the prequel to Jane Eyre where like how did it come to be that Mr. Rochester had a mad woman, his wife, mad woman locked in the attic?
That's exciting.
And so it's
actually.
the movie about, or her book is about the story of how they
Okay.
met and their romance and how she ended up locked in an attic. And it's all from her perspective and it's intense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very short little book.
Oh,
Just a little
Our
tiny
favorites.
one.
Like short ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the movie is literally just them having sex the whole time. It's like nuts. It's nuts. Yeah.
love it.
And the 80s, there's a lot of nudity in general.
oh
like,
yeah,
beyond,
absolutely.
like,
Everyone's
what's
like,
happening.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So that's I highly recommend that as your next pick. Like,
Awesome.
but the book is beautifully written. Jean Reese is a really good writer. Come on in. We're just doing a podcast.
Yes.
Honestly, I love books. I have a degree in film too.
Oh,
and so that's
wow.
kind of how this podcast was born.
How cool.
And so, yeah.
And then I'm an elementary school teacher, and so I did this not even realizing that
This would
was a thing. I did a read aloud, and then I had us watch the movie, and I made them do compare and contrast essays. And I was like, it was my way of getting movies in my classroom.
Because you can chill,
Yes.
relax for a minute, finally. That's so cool. That's
so
awesome.
yeah, so then we were like, let's do it. That was fun. So and it's been
Okay.
fun.
Do you guys have a top, like, book and movie are equally good, or like,
Oh, what did
Do you
we
have-
really like?
or one where like it's so extremely the opposite that you just
For me,
think
it's the
hilarious?
divert.
Did you just like,
Can you say it? Da Vinci Code?
No.
Oh, Divergent.
There you go. The Divergent series. The books are so good, and the movies are so
they're just the worst?
horrible.
Oh,
The
no.
absolute worst.
Oh, Shawshank Redemption.
Oh,
It was like identical almost.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was
And it
really
really
good.
looked the way you pictured it when you read it, like that kind of thing.
The characters were different. I think Red was supposed to be like an Irishman, but you can't have you can't not put Morgan Freeman in there. So reading it, I just ignored that part, and I was like, no. Brokeback Mountain was actually really
Yes.
Brokeback Mountain was only like 60 pages, so that all they did was take exactly the book, and they just expanded the characters. So that one was really cool.
Oh. That's Annie Proulx, right?
Yes.
I haven't read it. I've been meaning to.
It was
I love the movie.
so good. It was, and that one was hard for me to choose if I liked, because we don't let ourselves slide by with like, oh, we like them both. We
make ourselves choose. And so
there's no
really
equals.
hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And so, but I mean, they come close, but then in the end, you gotta pick.
Do you have any other like My Bridges in Madison County example? Do you have any like the book was terrible, but the movie was great?
I feel like we do.
Oh, we for sure do.
We do.
I know I do, but I can't think.
Let me see. I'll pull up our
Book was terrible, but the movie was great.
I really didn't like the Da Vinci Code, but I was just so confused throughout the whole thing. So I'm sure that's why. Because everybody I talked to was like, how do you not like that book? It's so great. And I'm like, I don't know. And then
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and we did Gone Girl. And I just didn't like one character. And so I couldn't. But so I didn't like either book or movie for that one. I just couldn't
Me
get
neither.
connected.
And I did both on that one too. And yeah.
I just couldn't. Here, I'm trying to find our list because I know that.
I know I have one, but I can't think of it.
I don't love what's his name.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
To me, he's sort of bland.
I agree.
Sorry, Ben. I know you listen to this podcast.
Oh yeah, he for sure does.
I got mine is Homeward Bound. Or The Incredible Journey. The book was horrible. But to be fair, we didn't watch the actual Incredible Journey movie. We watched Homeward Bound. And I grew up with that movie. And when all the dogs and the cat were different than Shadow and Sassy and Chance, I was so mad.
That is hilarious. Okay. It's a really literary choice, you guys.
Yes, she does.
All my books.
They're going to be kids' books?
Yes, I love my kids'
No,
books.
I get it. That's awesome.
I think for me, so our first February, we did all Nicholas Sparks books, and I will never do
Wait,
that
I think-
again to us.
It was someone like him who did Bridges of Madison
Really?
County. This is my point. I don't like Nicholas Sparks either.
No.
And by the way, I love a good cheesy romance.
Yes.
Do not get me wrong. It's
No.
not the genre.
Well, so
I
he
just don't like his books.
he did a Walk to Remember, and I've actually, it's funny, I was going to talk about this in the last song, but I'm going to talk about it here. I have realized his first person writing I love. So A Walk to Remember he did in first person,
Interesting.
and it is one of my favorite books. I love that book.
Really?
But all of his other ones are third person,
Yeah.
and you split between many different characters. It drives me bonkers. I'm like, I can't follow this. This is stupid. Why?
Okay, so that's really interesting.
Oh,
this is-
but we did a Message in a Bottle, and I actually, in reading it, I realized when I got to the end that I had read it years before, and I didn't remember reading it.
Is that the one with Kevin Costner in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cheesy movie. I didn't read the book.
For sure. No, it's a hardcore cheesy book too.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what else?
I know.
I don't know. That's
You know, there may be a few movies about like booksellers.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
You know what's a bummer? Like speaking of bookseller books,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of books about booksellers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that genre, a subgenre,
Yes,
like
yeah.
rom-com of booksellers. And I did not open a bookstore because I wanted to be
Whisked away.
what's her name in
Oh, Beauty and the Beast.
no,
Oh.
but that's
Belle.
I mean the ladders, definitely inspiring. What's her name? Meg Ryan and You've Got Mail.
Yes.
Everyone asks me that, and I'm like, no,
That
that's
was
not
my
what I began.
inspiration, actually.
But the Jenny Colgan books, do you know her books? They're these really sweet romantic books.
Really?
They're not made into movies yet. We need them to be movies.
Okay.
So I don't know if your podcast is listened to by movie executives yet.
I will try.
They should be listening.
And they better be.
Yeah. How cool would that be? They can hear what they
Screwed up.
screw up or how not to screw up future ones. Yes.
Right. It's a perfect podcast for them.
I think so.
Thank you.
Yeah. But anyway, Jenny Colgan's books, Bookshop on the Corner. Then there's like 1,000 other ones. Midnight at the Bookshop, like Christmas Bookshop, and they're just the best. If you
Oh, okay.
If you have any interest in that.
Yes.
I have interest in all books.
And they all take place in Scotland, parts of Scotland.
Oh,
and
that's
they're just,
amazing.
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
the accents.
Yes.
Which you
That's
can
what gets me.
somehow hear it when
Yep.
you read it. Oh, I know a new one, All the Light We Cannot See. Have you guys
That's
seen
actually,
it yet?
I have been told by so many people to watch it because they'll know that I'll like it. But I'm like, guys, it's a book. I got to cover it on the podcast. It's actually on our list.
Okay. Well, there we go.
So I read the book,
Yeah.
saw the limited series, 4-parter.
Okay.
It's a lovely limited series. The book is way better.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like
That's
maybe
what drives
100
me
times better.
insane. When you do a limited series, how do you screw that up? I'm like,
I know.
because they have enough time.
yes. Like, why are you messing it up?
You could seriously just page by page. There you go. You got it. Why? Yeah. Drive me crazy when people mess it up.
There's mystery in the book and the timing of the book. I mean, they did a nice job, I think, with this series. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But there's something about like there are all these reveals that sort of happen a little too early in the series. You know what I mean? When that happens, and I'm like, oh, I remember that being a lot later in the book where,
Yeah.
The suspense and
Yeah.
the build up. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Plus, Mark Ruffalo is in it. I love him too.
Yes.
He tries to do an English accent,
Oh.
Oh no.
and he plays a French character.
Oh no.
It's wrong,
Yes.
and I
Oh,
I
poor
hate
guy.
saying that because I love him
Yeah.
to death.
He's amazing.
But he really did it wrong.
Oh,
Like it was
no.
really bad. It's like the worst English
Oh,
accent I've ever
no.
heard.
Oh no.
And he's adorable, and he tries, and it's like he plays he's a central character in the show.
Oh.
That's kind of ruined it for me.
No, especially if he's going to be talking a lot and then he can't even do an accent.
I know.
Exactly. But his daughter, who's like the one of two actual main characters,
Yeah.
is in the book and in the movie an actual blind girl. And it's super cool,
wow.
and
Oh,
she's
that's
really
awesome.
good. Like, so it's such a sad thing that the guy who plays her dad in
Yeah.
this movie
Yeah.
kind of blows it. But
Yeah.
anyway, hello.
It's really nice when we can showcase what a wonderful, happy bookstore owner we have here.
Yes.
I don't think you're gonna get me to stop talking. So this is gonna be that opposite problem where you're like, how do we comfortably, like, not awkwardly tell her to shut up? So this is me saying, when you're ready to like shut me up, it's okay. You can do it. But
There's a fabulous new anniversary edition. You got this. You got this.
wow. Come on.
Very excited.
Yes.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay.
Get
Now
closer
we
to the
can.
mic. Tim Miller's uncle
Okay.
is an author named Brian Doyle, who
Oh, I've
is
actually
a
heard of-
regional
Yeah.
kind of hero of author.
Yeah.
And that's what he's best known for, but he also has a posthumous
He
essay
handed that to you
collection.
really far away. Like, don't get me on the podcast.
He wrote the book Mink River.
Oh,
and
okay.
this is the posthumous because he sadly died young
Oh,
of brain cancer.
no.
Just a few years ago. So One Long River of Song is it's a posthumous
wow.
collection of essays.
Okay.
And then there are like 6 other books. He wrote like book after book after book in a really short amount of time. It's
Wow.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But he was the editor at Portland University. Is that right? I can't remember the name of the university. It's so embarrassing. It's my husband's uncle. But there are people who come to this bookstore just for that because they're such big fans.
Oh,
they want to
that's so
meet
cool.
his nephew
Aw.
and shake his
That's
hand and
sweet.
yeah. And I guess there's a new edition of one of his little books called A Book of Uncommon Prayer: 100 Celebrations of the Miracle and Muddle of the Ordinary.
Oh.
10th anniversary edition by Brian Doyle. Oh, and Mary Oliver, quote on the cover, Brian Doyle's writing is driven by his passion for the human, touchable daily life and equally for the untouchable mystery of all else.
Oh.
Wow. Sounds like a good book.
Whoa. I haven't read that yet, the new
The quote.
thing, the new thing.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what we're really known for, frankly.
Wow.
Because people
really
are
cool.
so into Brian Doyle.
Yeah.
They really love him. And I loved him. When I first met Tim has this enormous family, like sprawling
huge.
all over Portland area, sort of Oregon, actually all over Oregon. And I'm from the East Coast, nuclear family kind of thing, right?
Okay.
Like, so we don't
Yep.
do Christmas with 1,000 people.
It's just
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys.
So I think it was the first Christmas that I went to be with his family, and Brian was there, and Tim had told me that his uncle Brian was originally from New York, and I was like, oh. So I just glommed onto it. I was like, my people. And we started talking about like Brooklyn and pizza and like, whatever.
How's that Subway?
Yeah, exactly. Like bagels. And he's like the quintessential Pacific Northwest writer, by the way. Like everybody like thinks of him that way.
Yeah.
But to me, he's my New Yorker.
Aw.
My New Yorker uncle.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's so nice and so welcoming. And his wife and their kids are all just really cool. And they're very close, actually, in age to Tim, because Tim is the eldest of the one of the elder, like, uncle, siblings. And Aunt Mary, who was married to Brian, was the youngest.
Oh, okay.
And so she was pretty young and hip when Tim was growing up. You know what I mean? Like the cool
The
auntie.
Cool aunt, yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. His wife and daughter are currently finishing a book that he started.
Oh,
That's
So they're
awesome.
trying to do that. Molly, hi. This is do you want to be on the podcast? This is really cool. This is
Offscript.
Thank you, Offscript. And they do a podcast basically about like when the movies and books that are, I don't know how to describe it.
Book adaptations of movies. We read the books and then we watch the movies and then we compare the two.
And so we do remote recordings in different bookstores and get
That
to
are local.
Yes, local. They get to and we get to promote them. Yeah.
And I've had a lot to say. I have opinions. I know that's shocking.
Yeah.
It's a 4-hour-long conversation that we've had, so get ready for the Titanic of podcast books.
Yeah, just an hour.
Don't forget about Bernadette.
Sorry?
Where'd you go, Bernadette?
Oh, what about it?
All eyes for their podcast.
Well, so we went and watched that movie together, and I'd already read the book. You loved the book too, right? Yeah, we both loved the book.
Yeah.
I hated the movie.
Really?
I felt like it just did not. I love that actress.
She's great. Yeah.
Love her, but I just did not.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Didn't love it. Did you guys like it?
I have not seen it.
I feel like I saw it, but I can't even remember seeing it. So that probably tells you how I felt about it.
Did it recently?
A few years ago.
Yeah,
Oh, then
I would say
I'm
a few years
okay,
ago.
Then I'm thinking of a different
I think it was before the pandemic,
Okay.
or maybe in the middle.
I feel like she was perfectly cast. They just missed the funny of the book.
That's.
Like it just felt kind of
I haven't read
grim
the
almost.
book, and I watched the movie, and I do remember I wasn't as happy with it when I thought like seeing the previews. I was like, oh, this is like it's gonna be like this cool like what's going on, and then it just ended up being really sad. I was like, hold on, what?
And can you imagine? Like, I mean, the plot is pretty dark.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she abandons her
Her whole
family.
family.
And
man.
that's
Yeah.
rough. And and the
Yeah.
book is like this beautiful epistolary book where the
Okay.
kid's just reading her emails, trying to figure out where her mom went.
Oh.
And so you get this like, oh, I'm gonna get teary
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
But this, really smart kid, who's like figuring out where her mom
Where
is
mom
based on
went.
these back and forths, and the emails are hilarious because they're mostly emails to this like the criminal
Yes. the
remote or whatever they're called, her personal assistant.
Yeah.
And so she's sort of describing like her feud with her neighbor and like all these ridiculous things to this person she's paying $1 an hour to like help her. You know what I mean? Like the absurdity of it. Like it's incredibly dark and horrible and sad, but it's also incredibly silly and funny. Yeah. Like all about like Pacific Northwest passive aggressiveness. And
I
her
love
like
that.
trying to like adjust to that.
Understand that.
Yeah, and the neighbor who's like a nutter about the blackberry bushes and like all of that is like very real seeming to an ex-East Coaster out here, right? Like all of that was, I was like, this is the best, funniest book I've ever read in my life. Also really dark and sad. But the movie somehow didn't capture either perfectly. You know what I mean? Like it just felt a little boring.
Yeah, like, I was expecting like more in depth to the story in the movie, and I was like, I left wanting more.
No, shoot.
Yeah. And it's like a really kind of vanilla happy ending that's not really like, really? That's happy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know.
I'd be mad. You know? I don't know. But somehow the book pulls it off. So I can't even remember how the book pulls that off.
Yeah.
But it does.
We'll have to read that.
I know, we will. I have not read it yet. So.
It's really good. And then there's another one called Today Will Be Different. It's another book by her, the author. And another like sticks in. It's a little, it's also a little bit dark.
I love dark books. That's what I'm here for.
But I mean, it's also about like, you know, kind of unhappy career person in Seattle. Like that kind of thing. But who, like, a woman who's like just, I don't know, disenchanted, but like she's just so funny. It's like the stuff that goes through her head is very funny.
Okay.
I think Maria Semple's the author. She's just funny.
Yeah. Those are the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. I think that's all I got.
Awesome. This has been great. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh my
Yes,
God. Thank
this
you.
is
You
so fun.
guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be here all week.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, guys, that was Ingrid from 3 Trees Books.
It was so much fun. And it's
It was
so
amazing.
cute. And
The
that was
shop is so cute. The owners are amazingly nice. We've only been greeted with warmth.
kindness and everything. Yeah.
It's been awesome here.
I know. And I keep staring at all the books and I'm like,
I can't wait to shop.
Which one am I going to buy today?
You can bet it's going to be a children's book.
Oh, yeah. Which one do you think, y'all? So, and we're here at Christmas time. So
it's all cute.
it's all Christmassy. I know you guys will get this in the new year, but
we'll have a lovely TikTok video for you.
we will. So go check
So you'll
that
see
out.
the amazing Christmas stuff.
Yes. So cute.
It's really cute. I also really like, we've been here, we got here in Washington. Our sun starts to set at 4:30 in the afternoon. So we got here at 3 and it's now 4:30. And so our sun is setting.
But the windows are so open. You can see the beautiful sunset.
You can, but I also like, I don't know, I might be that weirdo. I love when it gets all gloomy and stuff, but the inside is all nice and warm because this makes me want to cuddle up and read a book.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how to explain it.
No, that totally is right. Because, like, you could turn to one side or behind you, and it's dark. But looking in front of you, it's the warm lights
With books.
all around.
How can you go wrong?
I know.
You really
Exactly.
can't. Thank you.
But this is so fun. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us for our first mini-sode
Yes.
of the year.
Welcome back, guys.
Yes.
Stay tuned for a fun season.
Yes.
Next week, we've got coming up for you Catching Fire.
Yep. And then The Great Gatsby.
Ironically, that I talked about it
I
in this
know.
episode. I didn't even think about
That's so funny. Yep. You got a twofer this week, or this coming up week. And so,
Yep.
yeah. And then stay tuned. In a couple weeks, we'll kind of go in more detail about this season and
Yes,
us
just
and
in case
everything.
you've forgotten how confusing this season's about to be. Like I have.
We'll give you a little taste, and then we'll explain it. How about that?
Good luck
They'll
figuring
be
this
like,
out.
what the heck? But we wanted to keep this one all about this awesome bookstore.
Because this was just a fun conversation. I love that I went from talking about the bookstore to talking about
Our podcast and books
our podcast
and movies.
and books. Yeah. How can I go? Look, there's a cute adult coloring book right there.
And I also love you guys. Since being here, like 4 dogs have walked in, and this is like my dream. And this one right in front of us is so freaking adorable. It's in a little
one with the sweater?
Christmas tree sweater. And if it wouldn't be weird, I would take a picture of it right now. But I don't know.
That might be weird.
That might be weird. I don't want to drive off customers.
Hey, we're here to promote your store, but we want to take pictures of their dogs.
And Eamon kind of looks like Clutch, except nicer.
It's taller too.
Well, yeah, he doesn't. He looks like a min pin without the corgi legs, which is what Clutch is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right?
You walk up to him, walk up to them. Is he a min pin?
Please tell me what your dog is. They're probably listening to us right now like, oh my gosh, she's talking freaking crazy.
You realize because we're headphones.
All right, anyways. Okay. I say that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been amazing and fun.
It's been fun.
And yeah, we'll see you next week, guys.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.